I'm not saying that I'm upset. I'm just saying that I'm annoyed.
A man must accept his fate or be destroyed by it.
So for those that were fans of the show Spartacus, you might know this if you've been living on YouTube or have an Instagram account. But in the fall of 2025, we will be getting a season 5 of Spartacus called House of Asher. And my question is, who the hell was asking for this? Now, don't get me wrong, despite the fact that I did not think it's necessary for them to create a season 5, I will be telling you exactly why I'll still be watching it. So this show originally came out in 2011, and it was one of the best shows I had ever seen up until that point. It gave me the half-naked men, the violence, the gore, the sex, everything you would ever want from a very mature show. I did not think that life could get any better until obviously I saw 300, but that's besides the point. This show was just everything I ever wanted from a very mature show. It was with slaves, with gladiators. They did everything right. The one thing I can definitely say with this show is that they use a lot of green screen, a lot of CGI, but it makes sense. Maybe they were on a very tight budget, but it worked. There were times where the CGI blood was a little too much. Overall, to me, it didn't take away from the good stories and the characters. In following the character of Spartacus, who in this show, you never really know what his real name is because his name really isn't Spartacus, which I thought was a really clever thing that they added into the show.
Spartacus? My name.
No one gives shit.
Who is captured after choosing the worst decision in helping the Romans. But in watching this show, you, at least for me, I was able to pinpoint exactly when he made the wrong decision that was going to be the downfall of everything that he ever loved in his life. And it's kind of sad because in rewatching the show, I realized he was kind of put in a no-win situation. So it was like he could have said yes, he could have said no, but either answer would have given him a similar outcome in a way. In watching it, you watch a lot of things just be taken away from him. He's fighting to get closer to a thing that ends up still being taken away from him. They do really good with comedy. Now it's not like laugh out loud comedy. But when you're listening to the people talk in the language and in the way they would talk back then, and you can translate it in your head how it would sound if someone was saying this in present day, it's funny as hell. And I was like, you know what? I appreciate this. The writing was great. The acting was fucking phenomenal. Lucy Lawless is in this. Like, there's a lot of actors that I was just not familiar with. But Lucy Lawless, who is one of my favorite childhood actors because she was in the show that I loved a lot called Xena, Warrior Princess, and she looks really good in this show. And I guess the guy that plays her husband in the show too was actually in The Mummy, which I totally didn't realize it until I rewatched The Mummy. I'm like, oh shit, this dude is in that too. And then we go into season 2. Now season 2 is the prequel because that was the time where they needed to recast Spartacus because unfortunately Andy Whitfield, who was hot as hell, gorgeous as fuck, and well, I said the same thing twice, but whatever, hot as hell, he ended up getting cancer and he ended up passing away. It was very sad for us Spartacus fans because he was actually a really good actor. And despite him being in other things, Spartacus definitely put him on the map. And so it was sad to know that that was the situation. But then we were also introduced in season 2 to Gannicus. Now, this dude, I've actually seen him in other things, and he is not as masculine and as sexy in those other shows like he is in this. In this show, it pulls out a lot of masculine traits in the men that are playing it because when I see the guys playing in other things, which I don't follow everybody's filmography up here, when I first watched this show, I wanted to see if I maybe saw something that these guys were in outside of Spartacus. It's really interesting to watch because when you're watching the show and then you see them in other things, it's like, what? This doesn't even feel like the same person. The new character that we were introduced to in season 2, but then we have Crixus in season 1, and oh my god, he is so...
Crixus, what is beneath your feet?
Sacred ground, Doctore, watered with the tears of blood.
I mean, this show knew what it was doing. Like, this show knew exactly how to grab people to watch this. You got the men that would watch it because of the violence and the gore and the vulgar language. You have the women that would watch it. You know, they might not like the graphic violence, but the sex and the hot men, they knew what they were doing with this show. And then season 3 comes out, and then we are introduced to the new Spartacus. And in my opinion, I was not a fan of the new Spartacus, to be honest. I'm not a casting director. I'm not a producer. I just have to go with the flow. It don't really matter what I think. He kind of grew on me, even though he's no Andy Whitfield, but it's not like they can find another Andy Whitfield. So we got over it. Crazy as hell season. Season 4 comes around, and doing this video, I've only rewatch season 1 and season 2. Not that I don't remember what happened in season 3 and season 4, but I don't remember it as much, but I remember how it ended. Oh, I remember how the series ended. And oh my God, I actually was crying. I don't like admitting that. I only admit it to you guys because you guys are awesome. When Titanic came out, I cried. 300, I cried. Yeah, I don't cry a lot. That series finale, at least we thought was a series finale, season 4, I cried. But there was a lot of moments where it was getting a little teary-eyed because again, the story was told really well. Why is it hard to tell good stories? That's the question. It is hard because you see films that are coming out and it's like, wow, people just have no talent. But then you watch a show like Spartacus, it's like, wait, so there are people out here that could write a good story. Where are those people at when these projects are being made? Like, how come y'all ain't calling on them to help you with your stories? Like, y'all are upset that people aren't paying to watch your films in theaters, but like, you guys don't understand that your stories are shit. Season 4 ended. It was sad as hell, but I thought that it was done. Like, there was nowhere it needed to go. So it was resting in peace and now moving on to a new story, a new show. Then all of a sudden, we get a few months ago a teaser trailer that they're going to resurrect this fucking story from the ground and create a season 5. And I was like, why the hell is this necessary? Who was asking for this? I really want to know. I just want to know, honestly. You know, maybe someone did have the question. Because if you are watching Spartacus and you have binged 1 through 4, because you can actually watch it on Tubi, but if you want to keep your sanity and no ads added to your show, you might as well just get it on Stars. Because Tubi, granted, I do like the fact that it's free. Those ads that they play are hella annoying when you're watching like a very intense scene. Then the next scene that you watch is a commercial for a pill that you need to take for your arthritis. Like, I ain't got no time for that bullshit. That's what you get when you're watching Tubi. Eventually, I'm gonna have to get Stars, the only place where you can watch the season 5 on. So eventually, but I might do it just to keep my sanity. I just want to know, like I said, throughout all of that, we are watching the show and we do realize that Asher, who is from season 1, he is a character from season 1 who is like the snake. Like, he has no loyalty to anybody. He will backstab whatever his goal is for himself. He is willing to sacrifice whoever he needs to achieve those goals. And he was doing that from the beginning, even in the prequel, because he was one of the original like slave gladiators in this Ludus. But we see how he like betrayed even his own friend. And so he's always been that kind of character that just would not die. Like, in everything that we would watch, he would just be alive and he would get out of any situation. And we really don't understand how. Like, we see it happening, like we know how technically, but it's just like, how in the hell are you just able to just get out of everything and stay alive for 4 seasons? Like, how is this even possible? So in a way, I understand why season 5 came about, because maybe someone in the back in their minds was thinking, you know what, we need to figure out the character of Asher. You know, we kept him alive for 4 seasons, and there's probably people out here thinking, hey, whatever happened to Asher? And then back in my mind, I'm like, hey, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of mystery. Like, we don't need to know what is happening with Asher. And to be honest, in watching the show, there are times where they have certain questions that you have that are not answered, which is cool. It adds to the mystery of the story. And I feel like season 5, if I'm gonna be honest with you, is going to reveal a little bit more than they should. Like, answer questions that people may have had from the previous 4 seasons, and then even more than what people really wanted to know. On top of that, I also don't think the writing is going to be as good as in the previous seasons, simply because the show came out in 2011. It just hit differently. After 2015, stories have just really gone to shit, and I'm nervous as hell to watch what they do with this season. Not also is it not necessary, but you're writing a story for a show that was done years ago with writers that are writing stories now that people don't enjoy watching. And that's my problem. Like, a new season of a show that I loved is coming out during a time where people aren't watching new projects because the stories are shit. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you're always notified about the new videos that I have coming out. Let me know in the comments below, do you plan on watching this show, like the new season that comes out? And were you a fan of Spartacus when it first came out? And also let me know what your favorite episode is. Now, I have a couple of them, and these aren't necessarily like my favorite, but these are the ones that got me emotionally wrecked. Season 1, Party Favor, rough. And then I forgot, I don't know if it's season 3 or season 4, I'll put it across the screen. The episode Decimation. I never thought that I would be so emotionally wrecked from a show just because of like the backstory behind the character and how the character was that led up to that situation happening. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be very intrigued to read what you guys think. Also, if you guys do not know, I have a podcast, Allie versus the World, where I travel and talk about what life is like as I travel the US. And I have a Patreon where I vlog my experiences traveling the US. And for $5 a month, the cost of a coffee, you can support your girl, see her grow as an artist, but also see where I go next when it comes to my travels. I love you all, but you guys know that already. I have to tell people that because people in the back may not know. So this is for the people in the back. For people that have been around for a while, you know that I love you. And I hope to see you all in the next video.